The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Everyone, first and foremost, let me take this opportunity to thank you all for taking time to join this webinar. Hope you find it some insightful. In this webinar, I will introduce you to our visualization apps and further guide you towards the overall functionalities and the behavior of the same, which could potentially add some value to your business. My name is Ameya Dev. I will be presenting you this webinar. So, a few things here. All the lines are muted for now. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat window. And I would be more than happy to have a quick Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Now, let me begin with giving you an overview of our organization. Inogic is one of the leading organizations who builds the productive ISV add-ons on MS Dynamics platform. We are primarily focused on designing and delivering the optimum quality products that can best fit in and fulfill the requirements of customers running their businesses across various domains in today's competitive market. Inogic is highly globally recognized for its finest quality and low-cost offshore development services, as well as the productivity apps. As you can see on the right-hand side of the slide, Inogic has a portfolio of about 16 products altogether. From these 16, Mapletics is a flagship product, which is market-leading certified geoanalytical mapping application that really empowers CRM users with a geographical data visualization. In addition, on the other side, SharePoint Security Sync is a comprehensive solution that integrates Microsoft Dynamics 365 with SharePoint for document management, along with an ability to sync the security privileges from Dynamics 365 CRM to SharePoint to ensure a secure and reliable access to the confidential information and the documents stored in the SharePoint. Moreover, InnoLink, User Adoption Monitor, Attached to Dynamics, Alerts for Dynamics, Gamifix 365, and Business Process Checklist are some of rest of our apps. In this webinar session, we will look through two of our visualization apps that are Kanban board and Map My Relationships. So I have quickly set up the agenda, which is how we will flow through this webinar session. So we'll begin with impact of visualization. So we'll cover the significance of the better visualization for the business. Then I will move on to talk about one of our visualization apps, that is Kanban board, explaining what all it has got to offer looks like. Moving on, we will dive into another visualization app offered by us, that is Map My Relationships. And from there, we'll proceed to have a look at its features along with a live demonstration of the tool. And as I said earlier, I'm more than happy to take up the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Please feel free to post your questions into the chat. Now, why do we need to have a better visualization? Well, it is highly likely to help make decisions extremely faster than the market peers. With having an optimum quality visualization, it really can help prevent the business meetings from running longer, where managers and the senior ones within the organization can spot the data and information they are actually looking for in much easier and quicker way. So don't you think this can efficiently raise the visibility and over flexibility around the business expansion? It indeed can. So this is exactly where our Kanban board comes into the picture, providing you an ability to swiftly enable the card-based Kanban view for CRM data. So let's have a look at some key features of Kanban board. So it provides the Kanban view, which lets you visualize any view in the form of lanes and rows. Drag and drop. It gives you an ability to move a card from one lane to the other with a simple drag and drop action. You can also organize your cards based upon the multiple stages and milestones within the business flow. Now, it is very much possible to enable create quick actions, activities like email, task, appointment, etc. against the record from within the card itself, so that users don't necessarily have to separately navigate to different page to add the activities, which can again save multiple clicks and get it done in the quickest time possible. For grouping, you can actually design the board to also group the records within the lane to further categorize the information for reach visualization. You can also choose what details or the fields to be displayed on these Kanban compact cards based on your own needs. It also gives you the provision to search or look through any record across the whole Kanban board as quickly as possible. So our app Kanban board honors the native CRM behavior around performing any action from the options on the ribbon bar. This is as simple as selecting a card, and in addition to this, you can see the aggregate field values of the records on lanes and row headers, like opportunity estimated or opportunity actual revenue and the budget amount, etc. The board also has an ability to be configured to auto refresh with set intervals so that any updates made will automatically reflect on the board without any manual intervention here. Now, let's see the tool in action. So as you can see on my screen, I have configured the Kanban board for opportunities entity. So this is what the Kanban board actually looks like. You can see the data is presented in lanes and rows. So you can simply drag one record from this lane and put it on the other lane, just like this. As I mentioned earlier, it also has a support for the business process flow. So you can simply switch from the default view to the BPF view. And from here, depending on the records, yeah, as you can see the records, you can simply drag from one lane and put it on the other lane. So let me switch back to my default board. So on the card, you can see these are the activities. So if I want to create an email for this record, I can simply do it in just one click. So that is exactly what I was talking about in regards with creating quick activities for the records. Let it take a couple of seconds. Now, so I have also configured the board for cases. So let me quickly switch the view from my active cases to all. So as I mentioned earlier, you can also categorize and group the records based on the fields that you set for your Kanban. So for now, I have grouped these case records based on the origin of the record. So I want to know where the case or where the inquiry is coming from, whether it has come from phone, web, or email, etc. On the right hand side, you can simply search for any record across this Kanban board. So you can simply pop in the name of the record maybe and simply just search for it. Along with this, we do have the sorting ability available as well. So you can sort the records across your Kanban board. So if I switch back to opportunities, you can actually configure your board to show the aggregated values as well. So as a salesperson, I want to be able to see the estimated revenue, the sum of all the estimated revenues of the records that are present in this particular lens. And eventually, I can configure my board to keep auto refreshing with a set interval so that user doesn't have to manually refresh the board in order to see any updates made to the records. Now, let me switch back to my presentation. So jumping next, here's another visualization tool offered by us as I mentioned earlier. So Map My Relationships, which is a real powerful app that provides you a mind map visualization of the data along with its numerous relationships and connections present in the CRM system. So just like Kanban, let's have a look at some key features of Map My Relationships. It presents you the overall 360 degrees view of the data that you wish to see in the map. You can also choose to create any activity record like email, appointment, task, etc. straight from within the relationship map itself so that you don't have to create those separately. You can also create an associate record just in a single click through a node. Similar to Map My Relationships control, we do have Map My Connections control as well, which gives you functionality to configure a connection control dedicated to show, create, or delete the connections of the records in both grid as well as relationship view. Our tool supports the visualization of one-to-many, many-to-many, and many-to-one relationships. Along with this, we do have a provision of child configuration where you can actually drill n level down through the relationships to be able to see the respective associated records of one of the entities under another. Moreover, you can also enable the grouping and aggregation, which will show the aggregated values without having to separately create roll-up fields. And last but not the least, it's about color legends, which is to indicate the connection roles through color legends on the connection control to easily understand which records are connected with which other connection roles. So let's see this Map My Relationship tool in action quickly. So here I have configured Map My Relationships as well as Map My Connections control for the account record, which is Adventure Works. This is what the relationship map looks like. So now, if I double click on the node, I have an ability to expand these nodes. So deals here are nothing but the opportunities which are further categorized in based on the status of the opportunities. Like there are 2 on hold opportunities at the moment and 3 are in progress. So if you hover over on it, it shows you the actual sum of the estimated revenue. You can also perform quick actions like email, appointment, etc. So if I click on this, you will see these options. So from here, you can simply create task or email or appointment or any activity that you choose against these records, Adventure Works. Also, you can create an associated record from within the map itself, just like shown over here. So you can create the new contact for this account record straight from the map so that you don't have to separately navigate to contact entity and get it done from there. So let me switch to my connections view. Right. So it's designed to show the connection records from where you can actually create the connections based on the connection categories and the roles that you have enabled for the records of particular entities. So right now the records are present or they are displayed in the form of grid, but you can definitely switch to relationship view. And when you expand the connections over here, you will see the records that are shown with the connection rules along with the color legend. So this basically gives me an idea that which records are connected to this adventure works with which of the connection rules, which I think really adds a value to the overall usability experience with the tool. Let me come back to my relationships view. So we do have another ability where you can actually choose to see the data in grid view. So you can click on view as table and the records will be displayed in the form of table in a tabular format in other words. Let me switch back to my presentation. Now, the availability of these tools. They are definitely supported for Dynamics 365 Online, Dynamics Online premise version 9.1 SP1 onwards, as well as the Dataverse. Now, people may come up with some of the questions, so we have summarized the questions. So let's go through them one by one. Is there any limit to viewing the relationships between the records? No, there is no restriction on this. You can actually configure and see as many relationships as you want. The next one, are Kanban mode and Map My relationships compatible across devices? Absolutely, they are. Both these apps are compatible and work extremely smooth across various devices, including phone, tab, desktop, laptop, etc. The third one, is it possible to view details of records in the relationship map? Yes, it is. It is definitely possible to show the details. This can be viewed upon hovering over the record node as seen in the demonstration earlier. Now, what Microsoft Dynamics products do you support? So basically, our tools are supported for Dynamics 365 Online and onwards, as well as the Dataverse. Is it possible to switch to a normal grid view once Kanban mode is installed? Yes, it is. It's absolutely possible. You can switch back to the regular view if you wish to upon having Kanban already installed. Now, how to get started with the tool? So before we go on to that, let's have a poll session over here. So we will wait for another minute to receive the responses. We'll move on to the next one for map my relationships.